I'll open up with a couple things just to talk in general about the business of construction, and I appreciate everyone's involvement from day one. We've been doing this now for close to a year, and it's really important. And as we continue to learn and grow, this training will grow with us. It'll evolve. We're going to talk about some of the same things because a lot of what we do is consistent, and we're going to talk about some new things that are coming up based on the complexity of our business, based on who we're becoming as a company. So I do appreciate you joining. And I put on there 2024, the best year ever, because every year that we are currently in is going to be the best year ever. That's the mindset we want to take going into it. That does not mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean that everything's going to flow very smoothly. We're going to have challenges and issues. And the more educated we are, the more that we believe in each other as a team, as a collaborative group, the stronger we are. And that's really the importance of this. As we continue to spread ourselves out and work in new cities and work with new remote team members, it's so important that we continue to communicate and work together and understand that there's really nothing we can't do. We're getting to that point now where we are, if it's not within our organization, we're 1 degree, 2 degrees away from getting an answer or solution to any problem. And that's the mentality I want to take into this year and all future years. We've got a great thing going, great culture with some amazing people. And so I want to make sure that we continue to feed and help our team grow, which of course is going to improve the lives of many others. A couple things I want to kick off, just our expectations of time together. Always show up prepared. I know most of us are remote. Most of us are sitting in front of our desk and are tempted to answer emails and catch up on to-do lists. Just give me an hour. That's all I'm asking. There's a lot of really good information being talked about here. While I will randomly call on people for answers, I also will be doing Kahoot quizzes throughout just to see what you're getting from this, what you're learning, and what maybe you need more education on. So do your best to be prepared and show up and stay engaged. You have important calls or text messages, go ahead and take those. We definitely want to take care of our field and our customers. So anything comes up and you got to address it, no worries at all. That's always going to be our MO. You got something, we want to take care of our field. We need to know they're out there in the cold, the wind, the hot, whatever it may be. We want to make sure they know we do care about them. It is interactive, so join in. If you want to have something to say, just interrupt. I don't mind interrupting me, stopping the flow. I'd rather you do that than miss out on something you don't understand or an important point. But however, at that point, one person speaks at a time. And I think we're really good at this and not talking over top each other. There's so much respect I see and feel amongst all the team. So this has been really good. We want to share the floor too. I don't want anybody dominating the conversation. Unfortunately, I will talk more than anybody just due to the nature of the course, but I want to hear from everybody. So if you have anything to share or an experience that ties into what we're talking about, please jump in. And then, as I mentioned earlier, be present for others. When we talk about something and then we call on you, we don't have to repeat the question. That's very frustrating for everyone on the call. And then no profanity. I don't even think I have to say this. I think our team is fully aware of that. And it's okay not to know. These are some new concepts. Some of you are new to the construction world, it's new to SGG. It's okay if you don't know. I'd rather you let us know if you need some help, and we will get it to you. The goals of BOC is to understand the business of construction. That's what BOC stands for. It's the business of construction. So we are a business. We are a company that is a professional organization. So it's not just a contractor. Contractors sometimes get bad raps. We are a professional organization. And so we're going to teach the understanding of construction as far as why we do what we do. We want to understand the objectives. So anytime you're dealing with a problem, this is just a general rule of thumb, and I want you to apply this to everything you get involved with. When you're trying to solve a problem, always go back to the main objective. In other words, try to remember, what am I really trying to accomplish here? And then once you understand that objective, then you're going to build a solution around accomplishing that objective. Sometimes we're creating solutions for problems that don't exist, or we're creating solutions that don't align with what our main objective is. Solutions might be what makes it easier for us, but not necessarily better for the organization, better for our customers, maybe better for our field technicians. So we always want to understand why we do what we do, and then how your decisions impact the company. every day, every one of you is empowered to make decisions. We trust you, we believe in you, we know that what you're doing is, your intentions are good. And so it's important to understand that. We use the phrase, drill holes in a boat, don't sink the ship. So you're going to make mistakes, that's okay, but understand what you learn from that, and slowly the holes are smaller, the holes are less frequent, and we're running much smoother. I want also everyone to become a better leader. A leader is not a title, it's not a position, and it has nothing to do with tenure. It has really everything to do with how you impact the lives of others. And so how can we be better leaders across the board, from the people we work around inside our office, the people we support out in the field, customers, our suppliers? All of these individuals are needed to help us become a great organization. So how can we help you become a better leader so that you're taking care of all of them? That's where the importance of relationships and values come in. Our values are ingredients to building strong relationships. If you think about those values, and we've talked a lot about them in every meeting, but if you really think about them, even in your own life, and you do that at home, and you do that in your church or your community, you're going to build stronger relationships. It is going to happen. And at the end of the day, it's really about the relationships we build in our lives. They did a study years ago on people that live past 100. And the most common thing they found, they had strong relationships and they got a good amount of sleep. Now that's a little different, but sleep is important because we do so much in a given day. Don't forget about your body, and sleep is the healing process where your body gets to repair and fix and release toxins. So getting a good amount of sleep so you wake up the next day able to perform the values that we talked about every day in our meetings. Some things about me, and many of you have known me for various amounts of time. I think someone maybe like Jake might know me the longest, whereas some individuals who just started don't really know me. But here's some beliefs that I've kind of built over the years and evolved and changed. So it's important to understand where I'm coming from. Everyone you meet is dealing with something. I always say you can make one assumption. Everyone you talk to is dealing with some other issue. So whether they may not smile, I saw Johnny yesterday, he was, he lit up. It was just great to see, but not everyone's going to come at you like that. Sometimes you're going to walk by people who have their head down and are looking at the ground. They're dealing with something, and we don't take it personal. And as a matter of fact, reach out and see if you can help them. Ask them that question. Hey, is everything all right? I was walking into the mall the other day, and I bumped into a lady we've known for a while. She actually taught our son in school. And I said, hey, her name's Rosemary. Hey, Rosemary, how you doing? She says, I'm good. I said, how are you really doing? I'm okay. No, something's not right. And, even just digging deeper and finding out, sure enough, she had just gone through a medical issue. She felt like she had lost a lot of her health, and she was very frustrated by it. So sometimes people are going to tell you good or okay, but you can see that they're not, or you can read between the lines, and reaching out and showing that you're aware of that and you want to help them can have a nice impact on people's lives. Another thing is that our perspective is created through experience. And what I mean by that is all of our experience in our life, or our perspective, is created by our own unique experiences, which means everyone is going to have different opinions, different beliefs, different views on life, on everything from what sport team to root for, how they feel about religion, the government, the weather, work, their position, their family. Everyone comes from different experiences. And so try to avoid arguing opinions. Try to avoid arguing with someone who comes from a whole different layer of experiences. And so when you keep that open mind, it goes back to kind of like what I just said, everyone you meet is dealing with something. You understand that no one really knows what you've gone through. No one understands what I've gone through, but all of our experiences have brought us to this point. And this is our chance to continue to help people move forward, not argue with them about opinions or things that they've already dealt with in their life. The other thing is the YOLO. I think about this all the time. We get one chance. We only live once. We want to enjoy it. That's why we work so hard to make the STG experience a good one for so many people, because this is it. And if you're down and out or struggling, we want to help you because we know that there's only one chance. And a lot of people on this call, a lot of people in our organization do have struggles. And if there's anything we can do to alleviate those struggles or relieve them in some capacity, we've helped everyone from some financial support, spiritual support, physical support, even offering our company attorney to people in our organization to help them get through their own struggles. These are the things that we want to do, because to remove some burden from some other person is really a gift we have for ourselves. We have a chance to help other people, and it's a gift that never stops giving. But we have to take care of FISH first. What's the acronym FISH? Family first, integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing and not having to worry or look over your shoulder or worry about, I wronged someone or I'm stealing and someday I'm going to get caught. Really taking care of your integrity. Don't let it slip. That's the spirit. So your spirit is that inner being within you, the inner consciousness, whatever you believe, or there is something more to us. Where do our thoughts come from? Where do the ideas, where do our soul, the thing that helps our consciousness, that Jiminy Cricket that sits on our shoulder, where's that coming from? So taking care of that spirit and understanding that, again, we're here to accomplish more than just live. We want to experience life in a different manner. So take care of your spirit, and then find the H, of course, our health. We want to take care of our health. If we're sick, if we throw out our back, whatever that thing may be, we're no good to anybody around us. As everybody knows, I threw my back out three or 4 weeks ago. And it was devastating for me because I'm such a mobile person by nature. I'm very active. I don't even like sitting. And to not be able to do anything but sit for 2 weeks was really tough for me. So now, ever since then, I've talked to physical therapists and chiropractors and anyone else I can talk to about it. And they give me ideas on things you can do not to let that happen again. And I'm doing those every day because I don't want to go through that again. So taking care of our health in a way that allows us to help those other people that need our help, and that we have to be mobile and active to help others. So take care of the fish so you can help others. And the most important ingredient to success, I've said this before in other BOC classes, what's that? That one I consider the single most important ingredient to our success. I tell this to our kids, I tell this to anybody that I talk about when it comes to business and construction, the ability to get along with others. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how smart you are, how old you are, how experienced you are. If you have the ability to get along with others, you are going to be successful. You're going to help them be successful. In all of our dealings, think about that one single ingredient. What can I do? What can I say? How can I act to help get along with this individual? And we may not come from the same background. As I said, our experiences are different. Our perspectives are different because of that. How can I get along with them? What can I do to increase my relationship with them? That is what I would say the single most important ingredient to success. There's tons of ingredients. Success is a potpourri of things. But boy, if you can't get along with others, it's going to be tough if no matter how many other great attributes you have. The zero accident philosophy is something that Mike Marone brought into our organization and has really continued to push. And it's long overdue, admittedly so. We got so focused on trying to grow the business and deal with the day-to-days that we kind of lost sight of how important safety is. And so we want to talk about it all the time. We've got to build this into our mind. And I think about it all the time. Even in my house now, I think about it when I'm working on things around the house. Am I doing it safely? Am I removing the potential risks that come with it? We want everyone to be safe. And in saying that, we really know that the real danger is out in the field. I mean, we experience dangers in the office. I just got a paper cut the other day. It was terrible. I didn't talk about it. I didn't write it up as an incident, but just want to let everybody know. But the real danger is out in the field. And so when we go out to the job site, if we go out to the job site and we're not wearing hard hat, we're not wearing safety glasses, we're not wearing high vis, we're going out there and doing silly things on the job site, we can expect that our field team thinks that, okay, it's acceptable. And so we want to represent who we are as a company by how we act when it comes to safety. So we've got to be safe in order for others to see that. And that's how you build that safety culture. When you're out on a job site, have your hard hat and safety glasses on. I don't even care if it's not a hard hat and safety glass job, wear them, because we all know the benefits of those two things. We know the benefits of PPE as a whole. Put them on. Don't have this feeling or vibe like, well, I don't have to do that. That's not my job, or I'm not in the work zone, if it may be. It doesn't matter. Put it on, set the tone for the entire project.
I do want to point out, I really like the safety glasses. on that guy. Those are good.
I drew those on there. I wanted to make sure it was very clear. That guy didn't have them on before and got reprimanded. He's got his glasses on now. Okay, what are the 7 elements to business? They are, and I added safety as the top one. It used to be just the other 6, but safety's right up there at the top. That is a consistent element to our business that we have to continue to focus on. I just got them talking about it. But then the other 6 are basically built around 3 major things, 3 on one side, 3 on the other. 3 in sales, projects, and accounting, that deals with the operations of the business. That deals with what it takes to make the company function. We got to get work. We got to make that work happen. In other words, we got to complete the work, and then we account for it. We track it. We see how we did, and we use that data to go out and pursue other work and to make our projects better and to make our people better. And so the sales, project, and accounting is a operational element. And then the innovation, leadership, and culture. Those are the 3 elements of every business. Whether they focus on them or not, they're there at some degree. Some companies put a lot of effort in innovation. Other ones don't. Other ones don't even want to change their paperwork. They don't want to, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way we're always going to do it. That's their level of innovation. It's there whether you're working on it or not. Now, leadership is collective. Again, it's not the people that are running the company as by title. It's everyone in the organization focusing on being better leaders. And then the culture. Culture is just kind of the mixing pot of what happens when we put all these people in a room or in a building or an organization together, and what comes out of it. That's culture. And the feel that people who walk in the door and get in your organization defines culture. It just gives off a feeling. You know that you've been in buildings where it's very uncomfortable. You've been in places where you just feel lighter when you walk in there. Just feel like you're inspired by the individuals. That is culture. So these are the 7 elements. We're going to blend all of these in. I mean, we'll talk a lot about sales. We're going to dive into a lot of things about projects, but we're always blending in innovation, leadership, and culture throughout all of our conversations. Our values of respect, responsive, reliable, and resourceful. Again, as I talked about the ingredients for success, these are the ingredients to help grow this company. And they're ingredients that build relationships, and relationships are what strengthen everything we do. When you have a job going bad and you got a strong relationship with the customer, the job can get turned around. But when you can have a job going very well, but if you've got a bad relationship with the customer, you've increased the odds of that job turning around in a negative way. So using the 4 R's to build a stronger 5th RE, that is relationships, that's what has made us so strong. And we're going to continue to talk about these relationships. And there was a really good point brought up earlier in the week, and I can't remember who said it now, but about how the effect of each one of them ties into the other one. They're almost like molded together. If you've ever seen a Venn diagram, all 4 of these are coming together in circles to form that middle connection point that says strong relationships, great results. And so we're going to continue to talk about our values all throughout our organization all the time. New topics for 2024. I reached out to everybody. I said, hey, what do you want to hear more about? And so here's some of the feedback I got, not coincidentally. Relationship building right on top. How can we build strong relationships? Well, I tell you, we'll get into it a lot throughout, but focus on those values. You focus on core values, we will build strong relationships. Awareness and performance. So how our core values affect them. So being aware of what's going on around us, being aware of how our performance affects others, our ability to achieve our values. That is something else someone else requested. Again, we'll talk a lot about that through leadership. How to use the estimate sheet in Excel. Mike and his team have become very good at this, very fluent in their putting bids into the estimate sheet. It's a tremendous way to not only think through the job, but also once you get the job, it rolls right into some of these other questions, but how to track the job. So you've got it. We can now take that very same sheet in Excel and use it to track the job and see how it's going. Yeah, we got the accounting system that's going to give us historical data, but the estimate sheet can give you not only historical data, but future data. In other words, how are we going to end up? How's this job going to finish based on what we've seen so far? So we're going to get into the estimate sheet quite a bit. We might even have Mike do a session on that. He's offered to do that. Some people really enjoyed the change order exercise. They just wanted more discussion following afterwards. So I think we might have a whole session where we open up with the exercise and then we spend time talking about it. Because when we did that, if you guys remember, we had prices ranging from $2,000 up to $8,000, and that's concerning. It's concerning that we're all looking at the same thing, but but coming up with numbers that are 400% greater than another number. And then again, dealing with the budget and manpower loading, working through those as exercises. What do those mean? How can we use them better to track our projects and do more forecasting? More topics, work order, which kind of ties into the next one, training and feedback from the accounting team. So maybe we have the accounting team put on a BOC for us and they tell us their perspective. The accounting team works out of Youngstown and they are just grinding away every day, looking at numbers, getting invoices. You can only imagine the amount of paperwork and emails that come through their office. Let's get some feedback from them. Let's see how they feel about some of the things we're doing. Maybe we can tweak some of the things we do that make sense so that we are, again, accomplishing our objective and supporting the accounting team who's giving us a lot of really good data. Closeout process, my favorite thing to talk about. Training new team members, which, we have a lot of new people even on this call that maybe haven't done a lot of project management. How can we help continue to train them? Safety training for the office. Let's go through our safety manual. Let's go through our incident policy. Let's make sure our office team understands what our expectations are for our field. Forecasting and managing a budget, I talked about that. Understanding the numbers, we'll definitely talk about understanding the numbers. I love numbers, love to look at them and play with them and see what story they tell. Numbers tell us stories, and so we like to read those kind of stories. And then PMs work with foremen to understand completion, like how far along are they? And this is very, very important. There's a really good book that I just recently read, and it's called The Winning Link. Tremendous book about taking strategy and running it through entire organization. And part of it, what he talks about is there's no better person to talk to about things we can do better than the individuals who are in the arena, the ones that are out there on the job sites doing the work. That's our best feedback. What can we do better? We're going to get our best content from the individuals living out there on those job sites every single day. And then how much material was used. And I think we can use the estimate sheet, as I mentioned before, to do that. The hierarchy of a construction company. This is important to understand. When we talk about hierarchy, why do we do what we do? Why do we show up? Who are we serving in our different roles? And what you'll see here is at the core of everything, everybody in our organization is helping to serve that customer. That's what we do. I like the word serve and service and servanthood. I feel like it's not demeaning in any way. I consider myself a servant to the team. And so I use it in reference to my own self. But how we service the individuals or the team members that work with us is very important, and it's going to dictate our success. At the very core of that is our customer. And the people that are actually providing the customer what they really need are the field technicians. The customer's not calling us because they like how well we do our estimating, or they like how well we do our accounting or our timesheets or how we put together bill of materials. They don't care about that. What they really care about is how well we actually provide the construction service they're looking for. And so our field technicians are our number one internal team member. We want to make sure they have everything they need, because they're the front line of what that customer really is, why they hired us, why they're paying us, is because what those field technicians are providing to them. We never want to lose sight of that. We talked about that earlier about stepping out to take calls. We don't want to get feedback from our field that our office is in too many meetings. They shouldn't know that. They shouldn't know that we're in too many meetings. We should never tell them that. Our constant message to them should be, whatever you need, whenever you need it, you let us know. And if we're in a meeting and they call, one of the things we talked about in a meeting I had earlier this week is we could send them an immediate reply that says, is everything okay? Do you need me to call you right now, or can it wait? And if they say, now, then we take it now. I suggest you take it now anyway, unless you're in something very important, maybe with another customer. But if a field person's calling you, we want to take that call. Right next to that's our project managers. The project managers are supporting the field. They're the ones having those communications. They're the ones setting up the material buys, the procurement. It's our role in leadership and admin to make sure the project managers have what they need, that we can offload anything from them that they don't need to be doing that we could do for them. And then, of course, our admin support, and then leadership finally at the top, when anyone who's in a role that doesn't have specific task or isn't running a project can fall into this leadership role. And there's a large group of people in that role. We want to help everybody. Anybody, if the customer has a problem and we can help them, we want to help them. Admin, we're going to help them. Project managers, we want to help them. Field technicians, knowing their names, saying hi to them, making them feel like they're part of a company. That's how anyone on this list can help them. Anyone on this call, when we have our core meetings, great opportunity to walk around, shake hands, say hi to people. It really makes them feel like they're part of something bigger. This is relatively new. This is a portrait of a successful project manager. So I'm going to go down a list of some things that I think define a successful PM. First and foremost, lead by example. Be the lead example of our values and purpose. When we get up in front of everybody and say, here's our values, here's our purpose, and others hear it, they should say, oh yeah, I can see that. I can see that specifically the individual who's calling these out is definitely living by those. It shouldn't be something that surprises them. Like, really? That's one of your values? I would have never guessed that. We don't ever want them saying that. We don't ever want them thinking that I don't see that, so I can't understand why. Those are called aspirational values. We don't want aspirational values. We don't have any at this moment. I'm sure we have some, but our values are live day by day values. So we want to live those and we want people to see those. It also is going to take, as a project manager, you have to be a blend of a manager and leader. What's the difference between a manager and a leader? Give me a real life work example of a manager and a leader.
A leader is someone who will help their team reach their full potential, whereas a manager to me would be someone who looks at all the different details and tasks, where a leader helps to grow a team of potential leaders.
A leader jumps in and does work that maybe isn't in their what they're doing to show that they do what it takes to get things done. They're on a site, they see something, instead of managing it by telling other people it needs done, they jump in and start helping them do it.
Yeah, a leader is, no matter at any level, any position, is willing to dive in and help at any capacity. And so when you're a project manager, the word manager is in your title. What are you managing? You're managing the technical aspects, the scope, the change orders, the budget, the invoicing. You're managing all kinds of pretty much inanimate things. In other words, most of what you're managing isn't human. What you're supporting or being a leader towards is the human aspect. The people that are out there doing it, you want to be a leader. You want to help serve them and give them what they need to get the job done. You're managing data, you're managing spec books and safety manuals and closeout documents. You're managing those things to make sure they get done. So being a successful project manager is blending of both. Effective.
Hey, Chris, I have one other one that George brought up the other day, and it was for Rich Godlich. And it was as simple as checking into their hotel room, and they were having some issues. And Rich made it a point for his entire team to get their rooms first, put himself last, to make sure everyone on his team got taken care of. That's what a leader does.
That's a good example. Leaders eat last. Simon Sinek wrote a book about it. It's making sure everyone else is taken care of first. We go to dinner often at my in-laws, and my father-in-law will not grab a plate until everyone else has sat down to eat. And so it's just who he is. And he doesn't talk about it. No one says it. But I've noticed it over the years. That's a sign of a leader. He literally takes that to the full tilt. Leaders eat last. Effective written and verbal communication. And so the key word here is effective. We get a lot of emails every day. We get text messages. We get Teams chats. We get letters in the mail. We get all kinds of things that we got to read. So you get inundated. When you're trying to deliver a message, what you're really trying to do is make sure that the message, the key point, the key objective is understood. And so you have to be effective. And I'm going to give you guys a little tip. There's a software you can purchase, and I would say please run it through Zach. I want subscriptions run through Zach, but it's called Grammarly. And Grammarly is, you've probably seen the commercials, but it will kind of work behind the scenes, almost in an artificial intelligent way, where it will help you say things better, more clear. You can write out a whole paragraph and then say, help me summarize this, or narrow this down to three sentences. And so it's a great, it'll check for spelling, it checks for grammar, it checks for the right word. So there can be written 4 different ways. Grammarly is going to say, here's the right one, or here's the right way to say that. And so we want to look professional when we send out our communication. We want to be effective. We don't want it to be 2 pages long. We want it to get right to the point, make sure they understand what we're trying to get accomplished. So effective written and verbal communication. Develop meaningful relationships. That's a great project manager. When customers are saying, I work with SGG because of Todd, or I work with SGG because of Larry, that is powerful. That's saying that the individuals working in our company have built strong relationships. And what a company knows of us is only who they've dealt with. Think about that. So when a company fires us, when a company says, I don't want to work with SGG anymore, what they're really saying is, I don't want to work with that project manager anymore. I don't want to work with that foreman anymore. So we want to develop those meaningful relationships where it goes beyond maybe just giving them the work and doing the work for them. It's really about getting to know them as a person and helping them when they need help. We want to be a trusted advisor. When our customers call and they have problems, we're here to solve those problems. That's what we do. So we want to be that trusted advisor, and we always want to figure out a way to help them. No matter what it is, even if we can't necessarily get to it ourselves, we want to find someone that can. And we've done that in the past. Like, well, this really isn't in our cup of tea, but we can find someone to help you do that. That's like the worst case scenario. But we never want to just say no, or we can't help you. We want to be that trusted advisor. We want to be that first person they call when they have a problem. Understanding the business of construction. This is important, and that's why we do this. And we're going to continue to do this probably through perpetuity. We want to make sure our PMs understand how construction works. So when you're making those decisions, when you're invoicing or putting out an invoice or a change order, or you're talking to a customer about an RFI or whatever it may be, it's important to understand how the business works. Because if you don't understand the business, it's going to be really hard to talk intelligent or make the right decisions from an invoicing and or change order standpoint. You do have to understand some technical element. You don't have to necessarily be one that was in the field. We have a lot of field experience in our office, from Jimmy to Larry to Todd, people that have gone out there and worked in the field. These individuals have been there, they've done it, they've used the equipment, they know the equipment. Lean on them if you don't understand the technical elements. That goes back to my original point. You'll learn them. I've never worked in the field a day in my life, but I can talk just enough about the technical elements just for over time, just because I've listened to electricians, I've listened to our people in the field, and you can learn and you will learn over time. That will happen. It just happens by nature. So you have to understand some technical element of how construction works. It goes back to number 5. In order to be a trusted advisor, you have to understand the technical elements. Be aware of external market conditions. This is something we don't ask much of our team, but as we progress, as you say, I want to make more money, I want to move up in the company, understanding what's going on in the world is going to be a very important aspect to that, because we can't just live in our bubble. It can't just be about what STG sees and touches. It's what else is going on. And knowing those external market conditions are going to help us make better decisions on work we quote, on the prices we put out there. Anyone in this call who's put out a quote knows it's more than just numbers. We talk about who we're bidding to, what else is coming after the fact, how much work do we currently have, how much money can we make on this job. There's so many things we talk about beyond just the project itself. Those are external market conditions. And then finally, we got to be open to innovation technology. I would say one of the challenges we do have as a company, we struggle to implement software. We buy software, we have a lot of software, but we're not really great at running it all the way through and using it to its fullest extent. And so this is something we're working on. This is one of the things we got Kurt Kaufman and Gina helping us with. How do we put this to use better? How do we make that investment? We see it all the way through and we use it to our advantage. This is going to be one of the things that's going to help us step up to that next level. To be a $100 million company, we are going to have to use innovation technology a lot. Something that, again, Mike and George are bringing to the table, and that I used to experience at VEC, was the kitting, or what they call prefabrication or pre-kitting. What it is essentially is you're building elements of the project back in the shop in a controlled environment. Very excited about this. There's very few non-union companies that put an emphasis on this. But if we do, I guarantee over time, this could be one of the biggest points of selling for large customers. They want to know, can you work on things before the job even gets started? Can you get a jump on this project? And it's going to help us because you're doing it in a controlled environment. It helps safety, helps with trash. So that's a good example of innovation technology that's being put to use already. And I see it only growing and getting bigger. What it means to be a professional project manager. So we talked about successful, and now it's professional. First of all, estimating, we have to understand our costs in relation to the project type. So when we're doing estimates, you may not necessarily doing the takeoff, but we want our project managers sitting down with our estimators, reviewing those and understand what it takes. See, here's the thing about our method. We have estimators and project managers. Some companies have estimators / project manager. In other words, you bid the work, you run the work. Well, we have a different setup. In our setup, I've worked with them both. I prefer this setup. I prefer the idea of having experts do the takeoffs, experts who are able to focus and put their effort on getting new work, and PMs that are able to focus on completing the work by supporting the field and the customer. When it comes time to understand the cost in relation to the project, the estimators really don't get a chance to see that. They are just a machine. They put out quotes and boom, they're on to the next one. And the project managers, you get a chance to see the job all the way through. So when you're sitting down with an estimator, you have really good insight on the experiences that you've had based on certain project types. Well, yeah, I know that's what the machine might say it takes 4 hours 100, but we just did this, and in that condition, it's really going to take about 8 hours 100. Bringing that understanding to an estimate or a bid review is very powerful. And that's one of the things we need our project managers to do that. You have to understand workflow, sequencing, scheduling. So all those things, what does it take to make a project work? One of the things that's helped make Electric so successful recently, and I'm really proud of our team over there, and Jake's leading the charge with this concept, is we did a quick review. I just checked. I was curious. All of our projects in 22 and 23, anything over $16,000, and we were profitable on 100% of those projects. That's astonishing. So anybody on the call who doesn't really appreciate what that means, there's always that job here or there that doesn't turn out well. But one of the things that I think has helped us do that is our effort in scheduling. All of our groups get together and talk about manpower. In manpower, we talk about where people need to go, what jobs need help, what jobs don't need help. And this is also a testament to our field. They're coming to us and saying, hey, listen, I'm out of work. Send me to another job. I love that. I love the fact they're pulling themselves off of a job, waiting till it's ready, and then going back. That's how we're making money on all of our jobs. And that's where scheduling comes into play. Scope and contract awareness. So when, as a project manager and the job is awarded, it is absolutely critical that you understand the scope. You understand the scope from our perspective, in other words, the one that we gave to the customer. You understand the scope from the customer's perspective. What do they think we're going to do based on the contract? Those things have to align. Our estimators do a great job of scoping the projects. Wonderful job. It's the best I've ever seen. We got to make sure we know what those are. We know that thing to the T and use it as we go through the project. This is a big deciding factor about what's a change or what's not. So scope and contract awareness, so important as a project manager. Procurement, and this goes back to understanding the technical elements, buying the right things. You don't always have to buy the most expensive or the cheapest. You want to buy the right things. It's based on the need or the demand or the timing of the job. It could be based on the brand that the customer wants to see, but buying the right things, getting them out there in a timely fashion is very important to our success. Cost control is understanding your budget, forecasting. This is one of the things when I go around the country, I see a lot of contractors. I would tell you that 90% of contractors, project managers, do not do a good job of forecasting. They run their job, but they really don't know how the job's going to turn out until the job's over. And so understanding cost control, we've added committed cost, which is a very important element to understanding this. Committed cost, as everyone knows, says you place an order, let's say right out of the gate, you make a big, large switchgear order and you spend $50,000. Well, that $50,000 isn't going to hit your cost, the actual cost, until the invoice arrives. Whereas the cost control, using committed cost, this will show up on a separate column saying you've already spent $50,000. You may not necessarily have been hit with the cost yet, but it's already gone. You can consider that money gone. So understanding where we are with our spending is an essential element to being a good project manager. As we get larger, there's going to be banks, bonding companies, insurance companies. These are the things they want to know. How good are we at projecting our projects? We had to deal with this all the time at VEC. We were a larger company. We were taking on larger projects. Customers wanted to know how good are we at bidding and seeing our projects all the way through to the end. So cost control is going to be very important. And then labor management, able to get production at all levels. Being an open shop company is a true blessing. It's a blessing because we get to bring on individuals who maybe didn't have a chance to go work in other organizations, and we get to train them and teach them, and they want to learn. Some people may be really good at certain things and not good at other things. So we will find ways to either teach them or put them in that area where they can be very productive. And this is part of that profitability side of it too, is making sure that we're using the right people in the right places. We'll do our best. We sit down with individuals who say, well, I really wish you wouldn't move people around on me. I can be much more effective if I just had the same 2-3 people working with me all the time. We understand that too. And we also know the value of moving people around from an education standpoint. It's an investment into our future. It may hurt that job in the short term, but in the long term, we're going to be better for it because we're going to have more well-rounded people. So it's a blend of understanding where to put people. It's also a blend of training and educating our team. And this one finally is just the old IBM think. We're always looking for better ways to serve our field, serve our customers. So come to us with new ideas, bring them up in the meetings, bring them up in an email. You're sitting at home on the weekend, read books that spur thought and write them down and send them to us. Just keep thinking. I'm just so proud of so many of you that have come up with so many great ideas, from just changing documents because it doesn't make sense, or changing a process because we're taking 2 extra steps that we don't need. I love that. I love hearing about it. There's so many people on this call that I can think of that have already been doing that on a regular basis. Keep doing that. Keep helping us become a better company. Like I mentioned about the field team, they have the greatest experience of what it takes out in the job site. It's the same with project managers. You guys will get a chance to deal with so many different customers and so many different foremen and so many different suppliers. If you got better ways to do things, let us know. Let's share them with everybody. And then finally, never stop learning. We're going to be learning for the rest of our lives. When we stop learning, we start dying. And so keep learning, read books, watch videos, whatever you prefer, find ways to learn. I find ways to learn in movies and TV shows and sitcoms. I'm always looking for something to gain out of everything I do. And if I don't feel like I'm getting something out of it, I move on to something else.